welcome to that Freedom Ring. Before I get into anything, we just want to say we're thinking of the people of Lewiston, Maine. The shooting that happened yesterday, this kind of hits home here in New England. So we're thinking of the victims and their families. We're thinking of the people in that area. You know, New Hampshire supports you. So, but my guest this week, Chris McCormack. Chris, welcome to the show.
What's up, bud? Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, no, excited to have you. And I want to say your nickname is C-Mac. Is that just a softball nickname, or is that like, do people call you that in everyday life?
Most people, like some at work, don't do that. Try to have that professional view. But in college, there was you know that one guy that gives everyone nicknames, right? So I kind of got that, like, you are now C-Mac, and that's how it just kind of rolled in and came out. And playing softball, playing hockey, do whatever it is. It's just I'm C-Mac. That's just kind of who I am.
Okay, all right, awesome. Yeah. Now, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I'm from kind of the area. I grew up in Tingsboro, graduated there. Went to UMass Amherst for 4 years, stayed out there to work for about a year after that, and then moved to Nashua for about a year, and then I've been in Merrimack now for 17 years. So really this whole area has been, kind of where I've grown up, even though living in Mass, one town over, right next to Hudson and all that, you kind of like, call New Hampshire my home as well.
All right. Also, now, was that Tingsboro High School you went to?
Yep, Tingsboro High School, class of 1994, all 80 of us.
Oh,
so back
really?
to a graduating class of like 80 people. Yeah.
Nice. Did you play any sports while you were there?
I did cross country and track. We didn't have hockey at the time as official high school team. There was a hockey team through Skate 3, but that was like, like the elite league, and some of the Russians were coming into play.
Oh, really?
That was crazy top talent. Yeah. But so I didn't do a ton of official sports, but where I lived and grew up, basically I lived over the right field fence of a softball field. There was a soccer field in the school, and then a little pond that we flooded for ice hockey. So that was basically every day, just come home and playground sports. We play street hockey or football or softball, baseball, whatever, just every single day. So
that's awesome.
Always busy, always playing sports as much as I can.
I think that's something, and I can't speak for everybody, but I know, like, people I know, it's like when we were kids, like, that's what the neighborhood sports were, everything. It feels like that's kind of declining. And I don't know if that's just where people are living or there's just not as many kids. I'm just not sure.
Electronics. It's electronics, Dan. Right? You're like, hey, who wants to go through the ball? Oh, no, I got to get this new thing on, Fortnite's coming out. I got to get the skin, but I need it or enough. So it's tough. It's a balance for the kids to try to get out there. But, the days of riding your bike 4 miles up the road to your friend's house to go play basketball or go do whatever, and then lights are on, come back home. It's different times all around. As you kind of mentioned to start, it's very different times. So it's good when we can bring some of that back, but the reality is, electronics and automation and tech are taking over our world.
Yeah, it's true. We're living in the future. It's 2023, right? Yeah. Now, what are 3 things that everybody should know about you?
First of all, for me, it's family first. My job right now, I have 2 boys. 14, almost 14 and 11, and my job is to give them the best life they could possibly have, right? Make them live their dream, and it all focuses around that. And as we start talking about some stuff, even some of the things that I do, like I do them, but it's also for them. And as you kind of see as we integrate, but it's all about my family, right? That's the grounding for everything. Number 2 is I am an operationals guy. Operational, tactical guy, no matter what I do. It starts with my work, and how I lead quality automation. I do AI, I do technology, stuff like that. But how do we make things easier? But then, and I know we're going to get into this, start at a haunted house, and, now I'm director of operations for a haunted house, and how do we make that operation smoother? To just 3 years ago, my youngest started doing Cardinals football. Go Cardinals, playoffs coming up here soon.
We support them on the show.
I started off, I'm going to coach, and now I'm running data analytics and kind of, running the practices less around what are the techniques, but okay, what do we want to accomplish today? Okay, we're going to 25 minutes of this, 30 of this. So whatever it is, whatever we're doing, it's all about that kind of operational component of it. How do we get from point A to point B? How do we achieve our goals, and how do we do that?
Awesome.
And then the third one for me, as you probably know from our years of being together, fun. If we're not having fun, why are we doing it? So I do a million things, but I have fun doing all of them, and it's just a great time. So if we're not having fun, then it's not really worth it. So let's make sure we're having fun with it.
Good. Yeah, no, you do a lot of fun things and definitely stay busy. So, and I think that's important, for a happy life.
Yeah.
Now, sticking with the theme of the show, which is the money question, we ask everybody this. So many different answers on it. What does it mean to you to be an American?
It's an interesting question when I saw it, right? Because when I think about it, I don't really like and process it around and say like, am I American? Am I not American? Generational. Obviously my parents born here, my grandparents born here, so it's kind of a different journey for my heritage per se. But when I think about it, and I think about America as a whole and being an American, for me, it's allowing me the ability to do these things and these amazing things that I never thought as a kid I would be able to grow up and do. And no one knows what they want to do when they grow up. Yeah. And then here I am, I'm doing this, and now I'm coaching football, which I never thought I would do, and doing data analytics, and and running a haunted house, which, by the way, never had any clue on that, right? Yeah. But for me, when I think about this, all of this is made possible by the framework of the people that are around this, our first responders, our police officers, our military, all of that. So for me, it's less about like I'm an American and it's my privilege to be American, but it's really grounded to the fact around, like the ability for me to do these things are made through sacrifices of other people, either the ultimate sacrifice or just day to day or putting themselves in harm's way. And for me, it's about trying to give back and appreciating to that fact, because if it wasn't for them, I want to be able to do what I can do in this space. But at the end of the day, I will say, every 4th of July, I go to this campground, huge fireworks show. Of course, I'm helping run the operation of it because that's who I am. But you get that feeling, the fireworks are going off, you get some good music going, right? And then all of a sudden you just get that feeling inside, like I'm proud to be part of this. So it just somehow it's in there and it's naturally grounded.
Awesome. No, that's a really complete answer. I appreciate that. We want to get into the fan questions. Before we do that, because this is the real interesting thing, and a lot of people have questions about it, is that you are the director of operations of Fright Kingdom, which has become very, very popular in the area. What is Fright Kingdom, and how did you start it?
Sure. So, Fright Kingdom is one of the top haunted attractions, aka haunts. In the country. It started as a little mom and pop shop. But, it is one of the number one attractions and destination attractions you should make here. It's in Nashua, New Hampshire, right off of Simon Street, that kind of area there. If you know Mines Falls in that area, you hit the four-way stop, instead of going to Mines Falls to the left, you go the other way. How it all started, so the owner, Tim Dunn, shout out to Tim Dunn if he watches this, him and his wife Angela had this little dream to start this haunt, and it started like a small little business and some trailers. I believe it was through the PAL program, the National PAL Force, like to raise some money for that. And it started as a mom and pop operation. I was when I was working at Fidelity Investments back in the day. A friend of mine said, "Hey, we're running a charity haunted house for Make-A-Wish. Would you like to come scare people?" I'm like, "Sure." Whatever. I mean, I've never done it before. I'm not really a horror guy per se. But said, yeah, I'll go try this thing. And it was down in the old, what now is Tractor Supply. It was a bowling alley before, way back in the day. It was down in there, and I went down and, and I got all dressed up and like they zip tied a fake knife. It was like total cheesy back then, right? And I scared a bunch of people, and I'm like, this is the most funnest, amazing thing. Like they're paying us, they're donating to do this. Like I'm in every night. Let's go. Yeah. So I kind of got hooked on the whole like act of haunted house and things like that. Then unfortunately that guy had to move for work to Louisiana, but he introduced me to Tim. So I went in and I started scaring for him that first year. And again, a small mom and pop thing. Like family members and kids and all that. But slowly over time, he was kind of slowly building that brand and building that business. And as a big move came along where he was going to move out of the small area, go to a bigger area, and then totally blow it up, I said to him, like, I do operations. That's what I do for a living. A lot of you do the scare game and you're creative. And, there's two different sides to that. There's a creative brain, which is absolutely amazing. We have the best creative team and creative directors, I think, around. But they're not always as organized because it's the creative artistic brain. And I go, well, let me take this side of management and people and how do we get the right actors and building the staff and all that. And one thing led to another, and 15 years later, I'm the director of operations. So for me, it kind of became a good friendship with this crew and building this out, and ultimately leading to some amazing experiences, accolades from the industry 3 years ago, I think. So if you've seen Hubie Halloween on Netflix, you can look at the credits. You can, the drive-in scene when he goes to the haunted house, that's our stuff. I spent a couple days on set down at Quincy when they were shooting. I have a picture in my desk with us and Adam Sandler, who was nice enough to take a picture with us. But we are recognized for our detail and the level of acting we do and what we put into it, and even been rivaled to Hollywood Horror Nights. So it's an amazing thing that I've been a part of for the past 15-ish years, and it's just something I never thought I would have done, but it's just so amazing. I know we'll get more into it as we go.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. My brothers are big fans of that movie. I'll have to go back because I don't think I finished it, but like that's awesome. Did he want to use the local people being at Adam Sandler, or is it like?
So somehow it got connected to us because we're the only ones that are all indoor. So we're all indoors, right? Everyone else, there's some indoors, some outdoors, and there's pros and cons to outdoors. It's cool being outside, right? But there's weather, there's elements. You have to pack up and put things away. Like think about Witch's Woods. Like it's built on the bunny slope, right? You have to pack it away. So you can only get so much details, right? So got word that our detail was amazing, our props were amazing. So I got a call from Tim, and he said, "Hey, you need to come down. I can't tell you why until you get here." So I came down, and he's like, "Get your clipboard." I'm like, "All right, whatever." And I said, "Yeah, we got producers from the Happy Madison company coming in, and we're gonna shoot." Now they had already made deals to shoot in Massachusetts and Salem, so they already had that because they would have loved to shoot in our place. But I walked around, I was like, "Oh, we'll take that wall and that prop and that prop," and I'm like, "How the heck are we gonna get all this and get it all back in place for October?" But somehow it all connected. We took props and actors and masks and costumes and walls and took everything down and loaded them on tractor-trailer trucks. Some of it went to Quincy to build out the haunted house scene, and a lot of it went all over the place to drive-in movie theaters they shot at, downtown Salem, all that. And then a lot of our staff and crew were basically on call at any point. "Hey, need you here at midnight to do this drive-in scene." Okay. And so it was pretty interesting how it came across. So
that's so cool. I got to ask one other question. How do you hire people for this? Is it all is there a lot of actors? Is it just people that like to do it? Like, how does that go into it?
Yeah, it's a mix. And so I would say it's broken into two crews. The haunt industry is very small. It's very tight-knit. If you're from around this way back in the day, the original Spooky World, right, which was at Fenway Park in Foxborough, right, was probably one of the top in the country back then. They've kind of disbanded. I think they went and then the name went somewhere else. But that core crew was a just amazing group of individuals that are life haunters, and a lot of them have now dispersed to different haunts. Some are coming to us, right, and then we're starting to build that up. Some people are like, "Oh, I really want to scare people. I love Halloween. I have this tattoo on my arm of Freddy." Yeah, look at So we start to build up this community. So we kind of have a mixed group of folks that have been haunting forever, and some that are kind of new. And then in some cases, they're just friends "Hey, me, hey, you want to go scare this person?" Sure. Yeah, and they try it. We probably get about 85% of the staff back every year, but we're always hiring, always building. So shameless plug here, if you want to be a haunt actor, hit me up on Facebook. We'll talk about it because we're always looking for people coming in. And, it's something that is easily trainable. We set our scenes up in such a way okay, I know you don't know what you're doing. You've been there before. Hey, this is your scene. This is your background. Say one of these three things. Do this, and we'll set you up for success. But it's just a small, tight-knit group. And even though there's our haunt, there's 5 or 6 others in the area that are really good as well, and we're all kind of like a haunt family. And making sure we're helping each other out because you have 15 nights to make your money. And then, then you're done for this. For most, you're done for the season. So,
do you feel like you're competing with the other places, or you're all kind of in this together? Or
yeah, it's a great question, and I'm sure others may think differently. But for me, it's one. Many haunts, one family. It's kind of a slogan we use. You have most haunts open up around the last week of September, and then go on. So you have anywhere from 15 to 17 nights. I express to people, go to many haunts. I want you to definitely come to ours. Don't skip ours, right? It's a great experience, but there's other haunts out there that are doing amazing things, and go enjoy them too. Just make sure you also come to us. I want to be the best, and I want you to say, I love them all. I loved you the best. That's kind of our goal. But it's not like a exclusivity thing where only come to us, go nowhere else, whatever. So we do help each other. We do cross promote. We do talk about each other. And honestly, and we don't talk bad about other haunts. We don't want anyone to be, unsuccessful in this. But again, I want you to come to us, and I want you to be, we want to be the best one you came to, so you keep coming back. But yeah, it's definitely a bigger community.
No, that's awesome. It's very unique. It's very unique.
It is.
I want to get into the fan questions because a lot of the Fright Kingdom ones are going to come up. But first one we have from Ange Deshard, former guest of the show. She says, yes, Coach Chris, you're a rock star. So Ange's a big fan.
Her son, Alex, go Alex, love him. He is always smiling. He's on the football team. He's our center and nose tackle. Go Angela, go Alex. Great people.
I always see her pictures of him playing.
Oh, he's got the biggest smile out there every time. I love Alex. He's always smiling.
Nice. All right. And next question from Jordan Hillier. Wants to know, the haunted house traumatized me when I went with a group of friends when we were like 16. A grown man actor got in the car with us and wouldn't get out. I don't know too much to that story, but
there's probably a 1 in 3 chance that might have been me. So I'm sorry for traumatizing you. Back in the day, before we were kind of at the scale we're at now, there would be nights where you were literally talking 30, 40 people coming through. Like, there was 2 attractions. There was a mansion and a clown house. You had some walk-arounds in the parking lot. There's not a lot going on because you don't know who's coming in, right? The business is still trying to grow. Back in the day, we used to maybe kind of do our own little valet service. So it was just like a grave digger.
I remember that.
I'm sorry, it might be me.
I do remember
or clown.
That. Yes.
We may have, back in the day, for people we knew, I put a clown with a chainsaw on one of my friend's cars. So when they got out. But we have since not done that anymore. The parking lot's a little bit of we're not touching your cars or that anymore. But I'm sorry if that was me. But I'm glad you got traumatized and remember it. So.
And she's doing fine.
All right.
Next question, and I apologize, I forgot to write down the name, but I was wondering if you were still managing the Extraordinary Haunt. Now I know the crazy man is still making it happen.
Yep. So I'm still acting as director of operations. My role is I don't do any of the creative stuff or build stuff because it'd probably break. But for me, it's my biggest thing is run a show. So when we're live, we're kind of getting there. Who's going where? What's the staff? Making sure everyone's there, getting in place. Do they have what they need? We have a big security staff. We have T-shirt people. We have food vendors, all that. Trying to make sure that everyone's in place. So if the doors open at 7, pre-staff meeting 6:45. Go to your spots. Is everyone ready? Open the doors, and then I'm sitting up in my DJ booth. So if anyone visits, you go into the midway. You'll see the electronic band playing. Look up to the left-hand side. I'm up there, not taking a nap. I got like 20 cameras up there. We're watching the flow, making sure things are moving at a very efficient manner. Someone made a comment I know said it's very efficient and good. You go anywhere during this time of year, you're gonna wait. But my goal is that you are entertained while you're waiting and not standing in line bored. I mean, lines are inevitable. You're going to see that anywhere you go for these types of attractions. But if I can make it where you're moving along, you're excited about what's going on, you're getting entertained, it's change of scenery, right? That's kind of really what my goal is to push these people through and make sure they're having a good time from beginning to end, and make sure everyone's safe. And at the end of the night, make sure we're closing everything out and get it all done.
Yeah, I mean, because this is going to kind of go into the next question, because I've seen you in action. 2016, me and Jesse went down there. It was like you were a director. I've never done any acting, but you had the earpiece in and all that stuff, just telling people where to go. It's super cool. Jesse DeLay wants to know, who's a better scare actor, Pipes or Uncle Jesse? Now, I think we were at a softball tournament or something. You're like, I could use 2 people tonight. Do you guys want to do it? And we were like, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah.
I wish I brought the picture to put on screen, but maybe we'll put it on the page. But who was better? Did you get to see any of us even in acting at all?
I did a little bit of a walkthrough to make sure that everyone was okay in there. I'm going to have to say it's you solely on the fact that you have your own show and Jesse doesn't, and I'm here. So, I'm going to have to say it was you.
I'll take
overall,
it.
So, no offense.
I have to say, when we were doing it, the people that really got scared were the ones I didn't think would. I mean, I came out a window and this big guy just saw that and he sprinted out. He sprinted out. It's like, dude, I'm an actor.
I'll tell you. So again, not being a horror guy, not being a haunted house guy, I didn't really know the art behind haunting and what to do. And our creative directors are amazing. It's a fine art of okay, scare, build up suspense, make you think the scare's coming. It's a fine art. And as we place you in there in success, we're not doing cookie cutter things like, hey, you're Freddy today, and you're, like, it's all homemade stuff that's unique to us, right? But you build up that whole scare. But what I will say is, and I never knew this before, how many people are just completely scared of clowns? Grown men, big bodybuilding men. I pull out, so we typically do what's called an extraction, right? Get on the radio, hey, we need an extraction. You'll get some kids out or some, other folks that can't do it, but at least a couple times a week, and we pull some grown men out because they just can't do the clown house. Like, it's just like, I'm done. Or they don't even, we've had a couple stories, where in the parking lot, clowns with chainsaws, like, they don't even make it in. They can't do it. And sometimes it's funny because, like, they hadn't bought tickets yet and they left, like, well, you lost business. I go, I'm going to take that memory we just had with that guy. I think literally just went to the bathroom in his pants.
Yeah.
Because of a clown with a chainsaw and just ran away. But I just never knew that clown phobia is real.
It is. I mean, clowns are kind of scary. I mean, it's funny. You don't see clowns on television. Like, Bozo's not on. I mean, I'm wearing a Pennywise shirt. I still think this version of the Pennywise isn't as scary as the one that they did in the 90s with... blanking on the actor's name, but he's very
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Like, that's a terrifying clown. I thought that was scarier than the remake.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I mean, everyone, so, the two main fears
we do have them on the table, too, actually.
The two main fears, right? Clowns, one, and then the other one is the darkness. And we do have a completely pitch black maze where you got to go through and feel your way through as you go.
Wow,
so,
okay.
I mean, those two alone without any theatrical components behind it, which, and then I love the theatrics behind our other haunts. There's a zombie maze, there's a traditional manor and an abandoned house. But just alone, just the fact there's a clown house and the complete darkness, those two alone would just scare the heck out of people without anything else, just because of those innate fears people have.
That's
just so weird.
It's good stuff. Jesse got a last minute question in too. Do you get his Christmas card every year?
I do get his Christmas card every year.
Do you have a favorite that he's done?
So I'm gonna. They're all amazing, and obviously it's all typically with a
not family friendly. For the show,
no, kickball and a well positioned place.
Yeah.
I will say the first one is probably just one of my favorites because, like, it's just unexpected. Like, oh, a Christmas card from Jesse, and you open it up, and you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But I think one of my most creative favorites is we did have one year where we were working with some set builders that did a bunch of design sets, and they were kind of like when we had our open midway area a little different where you hung out in there for a bit, and they had a replica of the Stranger Things kind of living room, and he actually asked if he could do the picture on the couch, and he did. So there was a version of that on the couch with the kickball. I think it was the kickball. It was something covering the area, but I think that was my favorite one because of the favorites things integration. Stranger Things.
That's probably why I didn't get it, because I haven't seen Stranger Things, which everybody tells me I need to. But his first one was the best because it was unexpected, and he was so proud of winning that kickball championship. Like, he was so proud of that. Next question from Derek Chappis. I think this goes back to Sunday co-ed days, which neither of you have been in the league in a while. But he says, why does Chris hate Sean and I?
Let's just be clear. I don't hate Sean. No.
Sean Rattay, I believe, is who he's referring to.
No, so, we played, before he was 7th floor crew, we were brew crew. And I think, actually, even before that, I forgot who the heck we were, but even before that, there was another team. But we had a couple years we played with Derek and Sean and all them. And there was a playoff game where, I'm not going to get into the what did and didn't happen because it's still under speculation. But we didn't win, and people weren't happy, and there was hamstrings torn and pop-ups to catchers. And then, and we'll get into this question after about Augie. For those that know Augie, he was there as well. So, it was a good time after, some frustration, but then, some nice, tasty adult beverages after, some wrestling matches going on, stuff like that. I think the real thing, though, is like they came out of my house one time and they made fun of the best superhero of all time, which is obviously Lego Batman.
Oh, okay.
They don't appreciate him, so I think that's where the deep-seated anger comes from.
That
overall.
Makes sense. But makes sense. Derek could be a hater of things.
Yeah, Lego Batman. Come on.
Yeah.
The guy is amazing.
We have a couple questions from Dave Fournier, from former guest of the show. He just attended Fright Kingdom for the first time. I believe it was his first time.
Thank you.
How do you think Fright Kingdom is different from other haunted attractions in the area?
Yep. So I will, again, I want to throw out there that I want all on attractions. I'm not knocking any of them, right? But why we think we are an attraction you should come to and really see. For us, I think what we've done is combine the best of both worlds in regards to like operational components and haunt components, right? So if you focus on just the scare game, and this is how it happened, you know, that we did the scare game, we want to make this really scary. How's that? It's great. And it's fine when you have like 30, 40 people coming through in a night. But I remember very vividly, it was like probably 2010, 11, something like that. We had like this ridiculously amazing night. I think it was like a Groupon push, right? So everyone showed up. Like, that was great. That was way too many people for how we operate and get people in the door and out the door. So we sat down and we started walking through and we said, let's start out front. Here's the customer experience here, to here, all the way through. And now it's getting the ticket booth and all that. Next thing you know, we have a plan. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. We've got to go figure this all out and get it ready for a couple hours. The point being is that I think we look at both sides of the aspect of how the experience is going to go. So the scare game, that's what you want, right? You want to get scared. You want to see amazing sets. Again, we are all indoors. We can stay up year round. The finite detail that we can do that other haunts don't typically have the ability to do because they have to set up in like a month's time, operate, and break down. It's hard to do that, right? Just based off their settings. We have this place year round. We're constantly tinkering, you know, every weekend, every day. Like, we're just getting in there and doing stuff. But the operational game for me, like we have this thing at the end. It's called favorite parts. You go and what was your favorite part? Like a suggestion box, right? And we actually, you know, we read it to our staff at the end of every night. It kind of gets the, you know, the family environment and all that's going on. Let's read our favorite parts. We have a little like meatball subs, right, on Saturday nights. But, you know, we get kudos on how efficient it was. Yeah, I had an hour and a half wait and I had to go through some lines, but it didn't feel like that because there's eye candy, there's actors, there's photo ops. It's an experience. So although going through the attraction, the physical attraction of parts may be like 45 minutes or so, your experience is more like an hour and a half to an hour if you want it to be, if you choose to do these cool things along the way in that experience. And I think that's one of the differences is that, you know, I don't care, not that I don't care about the scare game per se, but that's not my focus. My focus is the efficiency and the experience. And then the creative director, you know, she's really focusing on the in the haunt experience. Combine those two things together, you get that bigger total experience. And I think that's what really makes us different.
Yeah, I love the idea of like having stuff to do before you get in there. Because then when it's just the haunted house, you're like, well, I did it, now I'm out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's awesome.
You're in line, but you don't even realize it at times because you're just, oh, there's some cool stuff going on. And yeah, you're moving, but you're also watching for that clown over there with the chainsaw that might be creeping up behind you, things like that. So,
he also wants to know, can you tell us, and I've noticed this, I think this is newer, or at least for the last couple of years, can you tell us a little bit about the Fright Before Christmas?
Yeah, so this is actually, it started in 2013, so that would make this, okay. So this will be, what, that math, so 10 years, I think, overall, yeah. So we started it in 2013, one night. So for those that don't know about Krampus, I don't know how many kids you have on here, so if you got any kids on here and you don't really want to watch or ruin some spoiler alerts here going on, turn off for a minute. Yeah, fast forward. So, you know, here in America, right, we typically have, you know, Elf on the Shelf, right? And it's kind of like, oh, be good. The Elf on the Shelf is going to go back and tell Santa you're not good, right? In Austria, they have this, the folklore is there's St. Nicholas, Santa, and this large goat-like looking creature called Krampus. They go to the houses together. If you're good, St. Nicholas gives you a toy. If you're bad, Krampus beats you with birch sticks, puts you in a sack, takes you back to his cave, boils you in oil, and eats you. And there's like an all Krampus day. If you Google it, Krampus parades in Austria, like there's kids in cages. They're going down the street, all these goat-like looking creatures. So they don't mess around in Austria. Like, hey, you know, be good or Krampus is going to kill you. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, that's way better than an elf, right, as we go. So we had the idea. We're all indoors. You know, obviously it's a business. You want to, you know, you have this space. You might as well do something with it. So we started it. I remember it very vividly. We started our first night, and we're like, no one's going to know what that Krampus is. So we had a plan for someone, like a very seasoned actor who'd been around, to kind of, as you walk in and you're going through this queue line, it was only going to be one of our 5 attractions. You were going to go in it and then come out of it because we knew we weren't going to have a lot of people. So but this guy was going to walk around and tell him about the story of Krampus, kind of like what I just did, a little bit more detailed. Well, he didn't show up. So last minute, I'm like, okay, get my all black contacts, get my stinged out suit on, all that. I'm now this character that escaped Krampus's cave, the only one to do it, and I had to like explain the story like 70 times as people are walking through the story of Krampus. But it was a good start. And then in 2015, I don't know if you remember, actual Hollywood Krampus movie came out.
Yes, and I remember the League did an episode on Krampus, if you remember that.
Yes, yeah. So it kind of started the popularity. And that year, like, we blew up. And then people started, so as our Halloween brand blew up, and we started saying we were also doing, other events, Krampus started to blow up, and it's actually one of my favorite events. We run through all the attractions. We have big animatronic Krampuses holding kids, screaming, yelling, right? We have walk-around characters. We have the clowns that took over the elf workshop. We have, some Santas that are in there, demented Santas, Krampuses, all that stuff. So it's a pretty cool event. Christmas lights everywhere, all decked out, 3D Christmas lights. So it's a pretty cool event overall, and it's turning into one of my favorite events. 3 nights only, but it's just really cool experience. I think it's almost better than Halloween. No offense to anyone who loves Halloween more, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I didn't know it was 10 years, but I've noticed more. I've seen more of it on social media probably in the last 3, so it seems like it's getting more and more popular.
Yeah. It typically will sell out because we only do it for 3 nights, and so everyone tries to cram it in and get it in there. And plus, of course, we get a lot of other haunters because haunts can't really visit other haunts in October because they're working. So we kind of get a lot of haunters coming in and see it as well. Okay. So.
Is there any other holiday, like with St. Patrick's Day? I know the Leprechaun movie. And
so we did, before COVID, we were doing Valentine's Day, which was a fun event, but it's big. So we did dinner and a show. They'd, people come in, they'd sit down. We kind of have a buffet style. We'd have some, guest actors singing and stuff like that. I would run a game show on stage. I started with like the Newlywed Game. Then we went to like Silly Minute to Win It games, but we used to entertain them in there and then kind of, kick them into the haunts and rinse and repeat. But obviously with COVID, we couldn't do that. Yeah. We've kind of changed our setup a little bit now. So we're really just running 3 events. We run our October event. The last week of November, the first week of November, we do our blackout event. So where we turn the lights off and you sign a waiver and we could touch and grab and you get one source of light.
On that.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah. Then we'll do our Krampus event for first week of December. And then sometime around the April timeframe, we do a halfway to Halloween weekend as well.
Oh, nice.
October theme, some new stuff that we'll throw in there, but just it gets people back into the Halloween spirit again and gets us to get the haunt back ready for October.
Do you get a lot, I'm assuming, do you get a lot of people that are doing every single one every year?
Yeah.
And like the people that just probably go multiple times a year? And
come back a year, We'll get some, a lot of repeats. And it's still surprising though, like, so the owner is out usually in the parking lot, in the exit area. We have an exit midway, food, snacks, all that stuff. But he's always like, hey, how did you like it? You've been here before? Still though, a lot of like, never been here before, never knew it was here. Coming back next one, I'll see you at Krampus. And they come around, so, the
cool.
branch has been continuing to grow over the time.
Nice. And Dave has a comment too, just a comment. I visited a couple weeks ago. I was very impressed with Fright Kingdom. Very organized. That goes to you. Great frights and different haunted houses and friendly staff. So, big fan of that. David Augie had a question, but it was very like incoherent.
I speak Augie.
So I just said, he just asked when is his interview. We can discuss that. Anything you want to say about it? It just kind of went into this. I was like, I don't know where this is going, but I think we're going to avoid it for the show. He posts a lot of interesting things on Facebook.
He does. I've known Augie probably for 20-ish years. Good friend. What I love about Augie is kind of like, how the keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Well, I'm going to like, if you're crazy, keep some crazy with you, right? Yeah. So that way it kind of balances out with it. So, Augie's a good dude. I played softball with him for a long time, known him for a very long time. So if you have him on the show, I don't know if you'll be able to understand all this stuff, but I'm telling you, it'll be a very interesting interview overall.
I can imagine. So, I know he still plays Monday, Wednesdays, or at least he did last year. So
he's a good crazy pitcher. I don't know if I'd do it anymore, but.
There was another question. And I might have missed the name here. What entertains you most about each night at the haunt?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to I love the operational part of it. So like pushing things around, moving people through, seeing the experiences. But it's the fun. Like where I'm at, I'm not going to give away a secret, but you'll know if you've ever been there. Like I sit and watch this midway as people are moving through, but I also sit through a really good scare scene, and I watch all night long. And I watch people get scared, and I watch people come out, and I'm watching on cameras. I'm watching people come out of the blackout maze holding someone else's hands because it's pitch black in there. And they're like, "Oh, what is that?" So it's a lot of work to execute, but it's also a lot of fun just watching people have a good time, and that's why we do it. Like I want people to have a good time. I want you to have the experience and be it worth your money that you paid for it. And it's just fun. It makes you smile knowing that people had a great time.
Nice. Good answer. Joey Kilmartin has a question. We kind of already answered it. I just want to give a shout out to Joey. I realized he was a professional wrestler, and I was at an event that he wrestled on. Never knew that. How did you get into haunting? We kind of discussed that. You knew some people. Now one thing led to another type of thing.
Shout out to Joey because he was an actor for us a couple of years.
Was he really?
Yeah,
okay.
he came in a couple of years, and then he actually helped us out last weekend when we were a little short. So
oh, no way. I know he's a Nashville guy.
Yeah, he came in and helped us out last weekend, dressed up, and had some really good scares out there. Because he was a spot I could see him pretty often. So thanks, Joey, for helping us out.
We got another question from Jordan Hill. And there's a little bit of descriptor first. With you being a father but having so many different titles, I'm sure you're getting pulled left and right as far as activities. So my question is, how do you balance all the activities and prioritize everything to make it work?
That's because Jordan Hill is an actor at the Hunt. He's more than just an actor. He does a lot of stuff. He's always first one in, last one out, and he sees me coming in like half awake. So I know where he's come from that question. So it's not easy. So, right now, unfortunately, a lot of things that I love are all at the same time. So I've got my day job, which could be 40 to 60 hours a week. I'm doing Cardinals football. I'm a coach for that with my son. And, that starts 4 days a week, goes to 3 days, plus games on the weekends. Both my kids are in scouts, and it's popcorn selling season. So my wife is the popcorn colonel, as they call it. Clever name, right? But my house looks like an Amazon factory right now with all the boxes for all the storefronts and all that. And I have the haunted house. I have all this other stuff. And, I don't sleep much during this time because I literally just before I came here was writing down, okay, on Friday, okay, we're going to do this. You're going to take the kids over here. I'm going to come grab this one because now my youngest is starting flag football next week because that starts back up. It's just a lot of organization. I love that. But I will say this is a year where I had to say, last year I tried to do it all and be everything, and I couldn't do it all. So I really try to say, for the haunted house, there's a couple things that I can't do. Can we kind of start looking at load balancing on some others and delegate around as we go? And it's really been extremely helpful for that. I used to be at my kid's football game. By the way, I take stats on every single play at 11 years old, so we can run data analytics. Hey, we ran this play, it worked, it didn't. That's what I do. That's what I love to do. But I'm also getting texts about, hey, I can't make it in, or this can't happen, so I'm sending that. And it was too much. I was losing the experience and the fun was coming out of it. So for me, it's about balancing. I offloaded a couple components of different things, and I took the stress off of that. So now, although I am still busy, I'm not doing multiple things per se at once. I can focus on football, I'm at football. I can focus at the hunt when I'm at the hunt, so on and so forth. And that allows me to fully be engaged in that space. So that's what really keeps me going. Yeah,
it's all about, the balance is tough. And sometimes, you have to take a little back.
I am looking forward to November, whatever it is, 15th, 16th, whatever that first Saturday is after the first week of November, where I'm just going to be nice.
Just relax.
Yeah, relax.
Jennifer Corbett Harrison wants to know, being a huge haunt family, which the Harrisons, they're into that too, and a fan of Fright Kingdom, and now my daughter started working there this year as a clown in 3D. Oh, so one of the scarier people.
Yep.
We are curious, how did you get started in the haunt field? We did talk about that, but we always have a large yard haunt on Wellesley Road. Did you ever do a yard haunt or jump right into a place, or did you jump right in?
No, I mean, I kind of fell into this in kind of a backwards way. I've always loved Halloween. I've always been an entertainer. I've always loved doing things. And again, scaring the crap out of people. I'm like, oh, corporate America during the day, scaring the people in the evening. This is great stress relief. And I kind of, again, fell into that. So I never really got into the Halloween stuff. The off side of my brain is a little I don't decorate for Christmas. I don't decorate for Halloween because I'm the ops guy. So why would I spend 6 hours putting this up to then spend 6 hours taking it down 3 weeks from now, right? That's where my brain goes. But I'm getting better because my kids want to do it, so I'm helping them with some of that. But I never really did any of the home stuff, but again, it just kind of, I fell into it. I fell into meeting some amazing people and becoming best friends with those folks and wanted to help them be successful and also be a part of something big like that. So, for me, it just kind of fell in that way. I wasn't like I am a haunter now, but I wasn't like, some people are haunters and they want to be haunters and then they become part of our family and, it just builds up. But I didn't start that way. I kind of just became that way over time organically through this. And I don't know her daughter's name, but I know exactly who she is. And I know she worked this weekend in the Clown House. And I remember her makeup and her face vividly. But we have a lot of new people this year. And one of the things I did get rid of from a staffing perspective, I used to run all the staffing, kind of outsourced that a little bit. So I'm still learning some new names. And for those that know me, it takes me about like 4 or 5 times to remember, like, can I have your name again? Have your name again? But
and they're in costume, I'm sure, most of the time.
Depending on how we get there. Yeah. But I try to learn like three newbies every week. Like, okay, who's new? But we're all constantly adding new people overall. So welcome, and let's get to know each other a little better as we go.
Now, so you weren't really that big on Halloween growing up?
I love trick-or-treating and getting dressed up and doing that stuff. But I wasn't like a home haunter, all that stuff, like many people are.
Okay. Now, and we also talked about this in the promotion of the show, that you are also a musician. How did you start playing music?
Yeah, so growing up, I started playing saxophone. It was band day. Like, oh, hey, what instrument you want to do? So I picked saxophone. I played. I was the bigger kid, so I played Barry sax, which is the big bass one, and like I had put the chair up on a box because it's so big and this way. So I grew up all through high school playing saxophone, but I've always been like, I just always sing unofficially. I'm always singing. So when I got to college, I wanted to write songs. I wanted to do that. So I started teaching myself guitar, just enough to get by, and started singing, and did some of that here or there in college. Nothing too official. There's a lot going on. I went to UMass Amherst. I was in the UMass marching band there. It's a 350-person marching band. I was also in the basketball band, which is really cool because the year I was there was the year Canby was there.
Oh, really?
And all them, and the year we went to the Final Four. So I didn't go to the Final Four, but I was traveling around, and the basketball band, and then everything hit the fan, and Bruiser, Flint, and NIT tournaments after that. But so music's, to me, is like everything's the core of who I am. But then after college, I'm like, I've always wanted to be in a band. I've always wanted to be a singer in a band. So I went for it. I met some kids from Berklee School of Music. I was traveling from Merrimack to Boston a couple times a week, which, as you probably know, is not fun at all. Going down Star Road Drive at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, on a Red Sox day. Chased the dream, made a couple albums, made an album, broke up. Now I have 600 coasters, then made another album, then broke up, then more. But and then at the same time, I was doing cover bands. So I had the privilege of being in a fun cover band for 17 years as a lead singer, playing some guitar on and off here and there. My wife was singing in the band for a while. We stopped right before COVID. The guitar player I've been with for 17 years, me and him had formed another band. We were doing really good. We were starting to because it takes like 8 months to really get something tight enough and to play out for a whole night. Doing good, starting to play at Match Vegas, starting to get some looks, all that, and then COVID hit and shut everything down. And then coming out of that, it was just like we tried again. Bass player and drummer didn't want to do it, so try to find some more players. And then, as you can tell, I've got a haunted house. I've got my kids playing football. I got scouts. My son is doing music too. So I kind of made the choice. I love singing. I love being in a band. I love being that front person. But family first, and I'm gonna do these things. So maybe someday it'll come back. I don't know, but.
What type of music were you playing?
So it was fun cover rock. So if I have a formula, so if we're gonna do a set, it's 3 sets. Your first set is your toe tapping one hit wonders. Third Eye Blind, Semi Charm Kind of Life. It's American Girl, right? People are gonna tap along and sing along, but they're not on the dance floor yet because they're still trying to get there. Your second set is now getting into your dance party cover rock. My favorite style of music is hard rock covers of pop songs and pump songs, even Disney songs. So we did Lady Gaga, Flo Rida, Britney Spears, right? Stuff that got people dancing and moving along. Then the third set, which is typically starting after midnight, this is your we're all drunk, let's sing along, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Nothing But a Good Time, Rock and Roll All Night. So that was my formula. It wasn't about let's play the songs we want to play because it's awesome. That's cool to do, but you're not there for you. You're there for the crowd, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was all about fun cover rock.
Nice. Yeah, you seem to be more about the enjoyment of others in a way.
Yeah. Like wireless mic, and let's just go. Let's go run around. Who wants to sing? You want to come on stage and sing with me? Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. It's not about me. It's about us.
It's funny, as someone who grew up with my dad is a musician and has always been in a band. I was in Market Basket singing Brandy, was on the you know,
Find
and
out.
I'm singing word for word. This guy goes, "You didn't grow up on that." I go, "No, my dad was a musician. I know the song very well." You know.
I've watched Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Do you have a top 5 favorite musicians?
I did. So I wrote some stuff down here, right? So looking at the questions. So I'll start with number 1, like growing up, AC/DC. That was like, you know, once I heard them, like, oh my goodness, who made who? Like I need to find every album of this, right? So tape, right? So I bought every tape. I would go and buy them as more and more came out, you know, at the core of AC/DC. And I was actually talking to someone at the football game this weekend because, you know, it's all homegrown family. Like, you know, we have the booth. You announced one year. Actually, I believe you.
No, it was my dad.
Your dad announced the Super Bowl, yeah. So, you know, we have to play our own music on our iPods and all that. So, you know, we have various playlists going. And me and one of the other coaches were like, you know, you could basically just play the entire catalog of AC/DC at a game or whatever you're doing, an outdoor event. And that would just cover everything because everyone just loves this music. So for me, first and foremost, AC/DC just brings me back to like who I first fell in love with music on. Next, I'm going to go Eddie Van Halen, strictly because I think musicality-wise, not only on guitar, but to take a whole riff of piano and drive a rock band with piano and what he did, like I just, you know, you don't see a lot of that talent going on. Like not saying, oh, I'm going to play the guitar part and I'm going to play piano and dub it over and that's what's going to be, which he did some of that, but there's just some songs he's like, no, piano is the main part. So just very talented musician. Now I'm going to go off the rails a little bit here because most of what I listen to is not mainstream music. I listen to just like all kinds of different stuff, but less on the radio, more of like, you know, Apple Music Play Genome stuff, like what I like. But Brandon Urie from Panic at the Disco, in my opinion, has the best voice.
He does DuckTales
range.
amazing.
Oh, it's I've seen him live at the Snooze Center. Like he's up playing a piano, you know, singing Billy Joel. He was doing, if you ever see him do Bohemian Rhapsody, I think he's better than Aaron Lambert. Like he's got the range in there. The speakers blew, so the whole crowd started singing. But he has a Live from Vegas CD. Listen to that and the falsetto that he has and how his range is. He's just an amazing performer. So my last two are a little off the rails, and it's kind of some homework for people out there that want to go. So I like hard rock covers of different stuff, and there's a guitar player by the name of Cole Rowland. He does all kinds of covers, but he is just a ridiculous guitar player. With what he does, he has a version of Uptown Funk is just ridiculous. Smooth Criminal does all of Michael Jackson's vocals on guitar as well as he's going. It's crazy. So check Cole Rowland out. And then a band I've been listening to lately a lot has been kind of like a punkish band called 408. And my son is getting into drums, playing a lot of drums there, and so I'm constantly trying to find these cool drummers. And 408 is a really cool band. Their drummer is sick. And if you got to really listen to the background what he's doing, but I suggest 408, the song is Dropout, and at 2:33 of that song, just listen to the crazy drum fill in there.
Oh, nice.
So, just cool. But I'm constantly just, whatever's new, sometimes I don't even know the bands I like because I just know I like this song and just keeps filtering in, save to playlist.
Yeah, that's good. So we can do that today instead of taping it off the radio. Like
Tape, record.
Do you have a Mount Rushmore of horror movies?
So not being a horror guy, right? I don't have that long list. But what I will say is a couple things. Growing up, Nightmare on Elm Street was the one that sits in my mind as like remembering that, watching it, going, oh no, this is bad. Like this
masterpiece.
This in
a way.
Yeah, because they had like the series and they had the show, right? So that was number one for me. But I will say, as part of, we did promotions for it with the new one when it came out. We have, we're friends with Chunkies and we do cross promotions. We sent clowns and we went under the table. So I watched someone eating their popcorn. All of a sudden a red balloon floated up from underneath and the clown was underneath, right? So it was scary. But we got to sit and watch the first of the two series out there after. And I remember just the opening scene when Georgie gets pulled in the well and ours on the blood. And I'm like, well, that was aggressive. Yeah. So I've kind of taken a liking to the two It movies and kind of how they've done that, and looking forward to kind of the next rendition they're coming out. So that's one. And then, of course, there's just the classics, Halloween and Jason, just classic stuff like that. I don't really delve into some of the different stuff like Saw and some of those other weird ones. Mostly because I don't have time. I don't think, really all I'm trying to do is try to watch some recorded sports these days. But, when I do have time after November timeframe, I'll try to sneak some in.
Yeah, no, that's a good list. I mean, I think Halloween is obviously number one, and we've done a lot of that on the show, but Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one, to me is like it's on the level of the original Halloween. Just very well done. That's a good list. The Saws are good too, but I think Michael, Freddy, and Jason are the number ones. Do you think who would win in a fight, Jason or Michael?
I'm a little biased because, as I talk about, and again, I'm not going to reveal too much, but I'm a little biased because we do have a pretty kick-ass Michael Myers.
People have sent me that picture. They said it looks unbelievable.
Yeah, we have I get to watch Michael Myers in action all night long, so I'm a little biased to that. So I think that. Plus, I think the first Jason, it really wasn't Jason; it was his mother, and then it morphed in. So I'm gonna go with Michael Myers.
All right. The debate always comes down to which Jason. Is it zombie Jason that but Michael had the Colt of Thorn too, so he had some, I don't know. I'm going Michael all the time, but I do want to get into blank versus blank. I'm going to give you two things. You got to pick one. You got to tell me why. Give me some Halloween type of theme things here. Halloween candy. Would you rather have a Snickers or a Milky Way?
Oh, Milky Way. I don't like the chunky consistency of the peanuts and the either I'm going to eat something that's like hard and crunchy, or I'm going to go like nougaty center, but that's what I prefer. So Milky Way all the way.
And they make the dark chocolate one now too. It's really good. Yeah. Skittles or Starburst?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Skittles because you get the same kind of flavor sensation off the both, but I think Skittles are easier to chew and not pulling it off your teeth and making your dentist mad because you still have half a Starburst covering your back two teeth as you go. And a Skittle has never broken a crown off my true story,
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you one thing. Once Starbursts get warm, they're done. They're stuck to that paper, and you got to throw them out.
Yeah.
All right, here's a controversial one. Want to know your take, but I know you're not a horror guy, but maybe you've seen both. Rob Zombie's version of Halloween or the original?
I've seen the original and bits and pieces of Rob Zombie. I would go original because I do prefer more the classic style than the newer style. Because I feel like Rob Zombie was just a little more like, it was more raw, but not as like classical cinematic.
So I've gone back because I've always been a big fan of the Rob Zombies, but I didn't get into like Halloween movies till college, and the Rob Zombie one came out when I was in college, so I always had a bias, but Rob Zombie can't write dialogue. Like, he shouldn't be allowed to write dialogue. And if you can get through the first, half hour of the movie, it turns pretty good. But then he really just has almost carbon copy of what the original. So I feel for Rob. He's a local guy from Haverhill. The wine scenes really were all over him during that movie. So that's another thing for another day. But Freddy or Jigsaw?
I'm going to have to go Freddy just surely off of my exposure to it versus the Jigsaw. A little bit of that, not much, but it's still childhood memories of accidentally turn on the TV and Freddy's on and have to turn it off. Don't go to sleep.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I have, like I said, that first one's unbelievable. I don't. Maybe you've seen these, maybe you haven't. Halloween 5 or Halloween Ends. Two movies that get a lot of criticism.
Yeah. I'm going to have to pass on both. I don't think I've seen either of those two.
Okay. Fine. Halloween as an adult or Halloween as a kid?
Halloween as an adult because it was fun as a kid, but again, family first, and the experiences that I can give to my kids, I don't like decorating my yard because I have to bring it back, but watching my sons, go through these bins and find stuff and decorate is amazing. Watching them trick or treat, watching them pick out what costumes, and they need like 4 costumes because they have a party and they have school and this, and it's just it was fun when I did it, but it's more fun to watch them experience things that just they need to have as a child to do that stuff. And for me, even they're getting in, like my youngest will be a future haunter. Like he likes to scare and he likes to dress up, and he has a couple costumes that he's gotten as presents from the Crave director. So it's cool stuff. So for me, it's really all about them and just watching them do cool things. And we have a Halloween countdown. Most people have like days to Christmas. We have a Halloween, like 5 more days to Halloween. Let's go. So definitely now.
Then I probably might actually know the answer to this last one, but I'll ask anyways. Coaching or playing music?
I I will say coaching for now because again it revolves around the kids. I'm not a sit in the sideline kind of guy. So like if I'm gonna be there to help, I want to help the organization. I can't like since they're like, oh, this stinks and you guys need to do better. Nope. If I'm gonna be there, I want to be there and I want to make a difference. So for now, that's what it is. But at some point, music's still a big part of my life. It's a big part of me with my kids' life as well as we go. So it'll come back around as things cycle through. But for right now, it's about doing things to make the experiences my kids have overall better.
All right, no, good answer. And will we ever see you return to the softball field?
I don't know because I've really upped my ice hockey goalie playing. So that's like 4 times a week sometimes. And my hips and knees don't like me much anymore. So I don't really have much for softball on Sundays. But hey, if maybe Brandon, give me a call sometime. Maybe Cost Brothers, whatever. Give me a call. Maybe we'll come out for one game.
All right, sounds awesome. Well, C-Mac, it's been a pleasure.
No problem.
A good time having you on
Thanks
the
for having me
show.
out.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody out there, have a great week. Keep your heads up. Until next time, let freedom ring.